TJ Houshmandzadeh on the phone with us. TJ, you just heard us talk a little bit about DeAndre Hopkins, Bill O'Brien, and Michael Irvin. You got any thoughts?
I tend to agree with Marcellus here. These guys leave Belichick, and they think they can treat people and players the same way. Bill gets away with it because they're successful, and guys are willing to put up with it. When you haven't been as successful as Belichick and you come in there and you degrade guys privately or in a meeting room with guys, they don't like that. And I like DeAndre Hopkins. He took the high road. He didn't want to make it about that. He's, we're all good, but he wanted out of there because of the way Bill O'Brien talked to him and treated him.
All right, let's move to Dak Prescott, who's been franchise tagged since last we saw you, and which leads to the obvious question of what's more likely to happen? Dak get a long-term contract extension, or Dak gets the Kirk Cousins treatment and is eventually run out of Dallas before ever signing a long-time contract extension? Marcellus, what's more likely?
Oh, he's getting paid, and he's going to get the extension he wants, and it's going to happen this summer before the July 15th deadline. Look, let's all go back to our younger days, the days where we were out there buying expensive things, and that sticker shock didn't deter you as much as it should have. So there was a time where I was in the market for buying expensive cars, and the funny thing about it is you buy the car in those days, and you spend your couple $100,000, and you're like, damn, I spent a lot of money, but I'm not done spending because I got to get the rims, I got to get the sounds, I got to get the tent, I got to do all this stuff, which runs up the cost. Right now, they want Dak and a contract that's higher than Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. That's great. That's the car, but now they got to hook it up. And what he wants is the new CBA hooked up into this damn vehicle. He wants all these other deals that may affect his, like a Patrick Mahomes. Let all of that dust settle in your mind, even if it's not reality, and then realize what you have to pay to acquire me in its fullness. This is not a full deal yet what they're offering Dak Prescott, but trust me, it's coming in the next couple months.
TJ?
Man, for me, I got you. For me, if they don't sign Dak Prescott here in the next couple months, Dak Prescott will be another Kirk Cousins. You'll play on 2 franchise tags, and they're going to get rid. The price is only going to go up. If the price is only going to go up and they don't want to pay him what he wants, they're not going to want to pay him more because as more time passes, the price is going to go. I just don't see Dak Prescott staying with it. It's something that Dak is doing that he's done on. If you look at Dak's record against playoff teams and teams with winning record, it's not very good. They see that. He's going to have to play extremely well this year under Mike McCarthy and his new system for them to validate giving him a deal that makes him the highest paid quarterback in the league. And I just don't see that happening because there's something that the Joneses, Jerry and Steven, see that says he's not warranted. We don't want to pay him that money. He's earned it. He deserves it. They see something. If they didn't see anything, he would already have a deal.
Well, what they see is a guy who gets carried by a defensive, offensive line, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and the players around him. They see a good player who wants to be paid like he's a great player. I don't blame Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, and this is why I think it's more likely they eventually part ways. Dallas has lost a lot of free agents. I think Dallas as a team has backed up so far this offseason, which makes it more unlikely for Dak to have the kind of season that he'll need in order to justify the mega contract that he's looking for. And so, yeah, I think it's more likely he eventually parts ways. I just don't think he's leaving the Cowboys any other option unless they have some kind of 13-3, 12-4 season that sees them in the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. Why give Dak some kind of record contract when they allegedly, according to the reporting, they put a deal in front of him better than Carson Wentz, better than Jared Goff, not good enough for Dak? I think, to me, this comes back to Todd France and what's in the best interest of Todd France and CAA in this regard, and it's for Dak to get way overpaid And so Todd France can continue to build his business. And again, I'm not trying to take a dump on Todd France. If I was him, I might be doing the same thing. But at the end of the day, the agent works for the client. And that's why it falls on Dak Prescott to have some self-awareness about who he is, what he needs to be successful. Can he really do better than what the Cowboys are putting on the table for him? Are there teams out there that would surround him with the necessary talent? And are there teams out there that would pay him the kind of money that he's looking for? I don't think so. So I can sit here and blame Todd France, but at the end of the day, the agent works for the client. Dak Prescott has some delusions of grandeur that don't justify the kind of pay he's looking for. And so I think eventually it's more likely he plays somewhere else than gets a long-term contract from the Dallas Cowboys.
Man, this is just another classic case of the bad branding, man. Look, let's be real. I used to hate when I heard people say you never get a second chance to make a first impression, but it comes true in this case. When you draft someone in the 4th round, you're never projecting him to become Dak Prescott this fast. So Dak Prescott was played for 5 years to the tune of $4.7 million. So you got used to playing him for the cheap. And then it's very difficult because of that first impression to fully respect what he's grown into. And now that's where we are. Look, his contract is great. I'm not saying that it's not a good deal, but it's not fully of the value that he represents to this team or to another team if he were a free agent because of the inflation of the CBA, because of the new money that's coming. He shouldn't just barely by a hair beat Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. There needs to be some distance. And I think that's what the fight is over, on top of the fact that Dak wants 4 years because he's already been played for cheap, and the Cowboys want him for 5 years because they're trying to play him cheap still.
But you got to look at it from this perspective is what Jason said is 100% right. CAA has to get a good deal for Dak. If they don't get a good deal for Dak, it's going to look bad on them. And Dak wants to be paid like he's Patrick Mahomes. He's not. You got to shoot for the stars and the moon. And if you land somewhere short of that, you're fine. But how far short? We don't know. Dak wants big money. The Cowboys aren't giving it to him. And he has to be smart because when you look around the league and you go through every team, after this year, there's only going to be a handful of teams, if that, looking for a quarterback. The rookies that have come in have played well. The younger, they've played well. So there's not going to be many starting spots available. So Dak better be smart and play this the right way because these young quarterbacks are coming in and they're being successful. You can maybe look at the Chicago Bears, maybe the Raiders, maybe the Colts. You start going from team to team, there's not going to be a lot of starting jobs available next year.
All right, let's move to one last topic. Phillip Rivers, new home with the Indianapolis Colts. Teddy Bridgewater, new home with the Carolina Panthers. Which one of these two guys, who helps their team more in 2020? Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater, Marcellus, who?
It's going to be Phillip Rivers. I think it's greatly exaggerated, his fall off the cliff. I think it's just age appropriate. That's what we do. Phillip Rivers has at least 2 seasons and potentially 4 seasons worse than what he did last year. But the difference is he wasn't 38 when he had those bad years, so we just looked past him. I think that right now we collectively need to look past what happened last year. Don't forget that last year he had receivers in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry all had the most drops that they ever had in their career. Think about that. No one's factoring that into the fact that Phillip Rivers felt that pressure. His receivers were dropping the ball. And then he's like, I'm going to fix this because I'm Phillip Rivers. So I think it's very age appropriate to discount his services. He still has something in the tank.
Yeah, I got to go with you, Marcellus, on this one. I lean Phillip Rivers, not so much because of Phillip Rivers. It's because of the team around him. The Panthers are rebuilding. They're basically starting from the basement. They're starting in the basement. New head coach, new offensive coordinator. They're bringing in Teddy Bridgewater. They have some pieces on offense with Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. They have pieces to work with. But it's a new regime. you look at the Colts, if Andrew Luck doesn't retire, everybody's looking at them as a Super Bowl team. So they figure we bring in Phillip Rivers. We have a good offensive line. We have a good run game. Our defense is pretty good. We got T.Y. Hill and probably will draft a receiver. They just have more pieces to the puzzle than the Panthers do. For that reason, to me, it's an easy answer with Phillip Rivers just because he's going to be working with a lot more than Teddy Bridgewater is.
And that's why there's going to be more disappointment in Indianapolis, because the Colts are a team that feel like they're built for a Super Bowl run. And to me, Phillip Rivers can't get him there. And that's why I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to help the Carolina Panthers more. Expectations won't be great. Hey, let's say the Panthers win 6-7 games with a first-year head coach coming out of the college ranks with Teddy Bridgewater, and Teddy Bridgewater is just steady and promising. He may be able to meet the expectations. I don't think Phillip Rivers is going to be able to meet the expectations of the Indianapolis Colts. And so Phillip Rivers' numbers may be better, but that doesn't mean he reaches the expectations. He's still going to throw interceptions. He's still old and immobile. He's still going to take bad sacks and hold the ball too long. Phillip Rivers is toast. Sorry to break that news to you, Marcellus, but he is done. And so are we with this segment.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.